Hello, my name is Ralph and welcome back to the channel. It's my time, let's go. I'd like to thank you all for joining us in the channel, and then we hope to see you here quite often. I got to thank everybody for subbing up and getting us up near 1,000. We're almost there. We're almost there, or we are there. I haven't checked. But I know it's been a long slog, but I appreciate every one of you that's helped. And I can't even begin to mention them all. There's people from all over the world. But we're getting there. We're moving on. If you haven't subbed up, please do subscribe. Like, comment, ring the bell, do those things. It helps the channel to grow, and it's been working for us, and we're growing, so we're very happy. Today we're going to do some work on the heads for Gus's, and what I want to do is just to clean out the valve guide hole here. Where the guide goes in, there's just little rough marks there, so we're just going to, not really much marks at all, so what we're going to do is just make ourselves a little tool. We just took a piece of 1/4 inch rod like that, and we're just going to try to cut a little slot down in it as best we can. If we can get it started anywhere near the center. That's going to take us a little bit. We'll get back to you. There we go. Now we're just going to clean that up, put it in the lathe there, and I'm just going to clean up the edges on it, and we'll bring it back. So now we've got our little piece cut off, and we've rounded off the top and taken all the burrs or anything that are in there. And we're just going to take a piece of sandpaper. This is like a 600 grit, really. And we're just going to put it on there like that. We pay attention to the way the drill is going to rotate it. We're going to go in a clockwise direction. So we'll fold this over. And we'll just roll this up on here. We're going to stick it down the guide hole. And I just need to get my little drill. And we'll just stick it down in there enough so it'll fit in the hole. And I'm just basically cleaning it off well so that I can see if there is any deep gouges or anything like that inside of the where the guide goes. See, there's very slight little markings in there, but not much. So tear a little piece off so we get some fresh sandpaper right there. So I'm just going to take my little telescoping gauge here, and this will compress in the hole like this. And that will give us a size of what the inner hole here should be, or as close as we can get to it. I have a good idea, but when you look at these guides, they say that they're different sizes on the guides. But when I measure the guides, they appear to be the same. And they were in there fairly stiff and rough. So someone may have turned them down. Yeah. Pretty close to standard. Thou oversized hole. But they had some, I think they must have took oversized guides and perhaps turned them down. Now that we've measured the guide holes out, we know what they are, and I've got a couple of 4 thou over guides because I didn't know what to expect. One said it was 3 over. I think the other one was 2 over or something. Yeah, 2 over and 2 over. Although the guides themselves were marked 3 thou over and 4 thou over. So obviously somebody's just taken the bigger guide and turned it down so that'll fit in there, which is what I'm going to do. Because I got 4 thou ones just to be sure, because I was going by the numbers on the guide, so I didn't know what to expect, but I wanted to make sure I was up there. And one's 2 and one's 3 thou, but actually they're not. They're 2 thou, I guess. Today we're working away on Gus's heads here, and we're going to see how far we can get today working away on them. We've got to put new valve guides in them, we've got to hone them out to size and make sure that they fit, and then we have to cut our seats and make sure they're all good. Whether we'll get it all today or not, I'm not sure, but we're going to take a stab at it. I want a big shout out for Hippie's Chopper Corner down there for mentioning me in his videos and stuff and helping me to pick up some. Also got Slickhead Customs joined us as a new member. Glad to have you guys here as well, and Pacific Mike, you're out there too and joined us. We're glad to see all the people that are there from here, Canada, and around the world that have joined us to see what we're up to. Blows my mind, blows my mind. So today, our valve guides that have to go in, and I have them in the freezer right now, but they have a little spot around them here. You can see the groove on this one, and they actually have an O-ring that fits in there, and I'll show you when I bring the other ones in out of the freezer. So what they suggest to do that is around the top of the, here where the valve goes in, we're just going to take our, it's kind of a chip breaking tool. It's for rounding corners off in the lathe and stuff. And we're just going to take some turns around it in there. Nice and evenly all around is all we need. And we're just breaking off the corner so that the O-ring will go down inside and not just be squashed out. And as you can see there by the shiny spot, we've just cut a little bit of a chamfered groove in there to give the O-ring a chance. This one you can see doesn't have it done yet. There's lots of different ways you could do it. And it doesn't have to be a lot because it will be compressed, but we just don't want to blow it all out like that. And there you can see the shiny spot around it, I hope. Take it just a little bit more off this one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cook our heads up. I don't mean cook them up, but cook them up. I like to heat them up to a couple 100 degrees. Old fellow which taught me that once the spit sizzles on it, they're ready. So I've always gone by that, and that's what we're going to do with these. So we're going to preheat them here and get them ready to drive our valves in. Okie doke. So now we're just waiting for the heads to heat up here till the spit sizzles on them, and we're going to drive the guides in here. So it's always worse when you're waiting. That one's ready. We'll just take our guide on our driver. One down. That one just took a little bit longer, but we've got this one in. Like I say, we've put our guides in the freezer, and you can see that little orange O-ring that's on there. That's what we've cut down in our head so that the O-ring would slide in, and it looks perfect on that one. There we go. Sizzle and Dixie. Alrighty. sure we're flat on their head. That's her. So we're just going to let our heads cool down now, and then we'll get to resizing the valves and cutting the seats out on them. Take a little while for them to cool down, but they're in there good and they're nice and tight. That's what I wanted to see. It was worth measuring the other ones to see where you were at. It gives us a good bearing on where the hole was at in it. And without that, we wouldn't have known. Now we're going to use our New Way cutters, and we're going to cut the valve seats out on these heads to get them the way they're supposed to be. So we're starting with a 45 in the bottom there, and we've taken a couple of cuts. At first we couldn't get a seat out of it. It didn't want to clean up enough all the way around, but as we've worked it, we're down and getting a pretty good seat on it. It's hard to see, but the shiny spot is what we're working around that seat. And it still needs a little bit more to clean it up. And we got a nice seat there. So what we're going to do is turn it over, and we're going to touch it with our 31 degree, I believe it is. Yes, 31 degrees, which is the outer cut around the outside. Make sure that we're adjusted out far enough that we don't make a cut into our 45. We're just going to need a little bit more on here. And we just loosen up the little screws on these. Shove the stones out. It's not an exact art, but when you put it on there, you'll see where they're at. Oh, a little too far. A little too far. I'm just trying to get it on the edge of the seat in there and not cut into the cylinder head itself. Alright, let's try a little cut. Before we start, you'll see that we just have one sort of shiny ring around that valve seat. Now we're going to cut the outer one. Little tiny bit more, and I think we've got that. You don't want to go too much on it. Just enough to clean it up. We'll take a cut with our 45. And last but not least, we take a little cut with our 60 degree down deep inside the full depth of it. Be careful with this, to just go lightly and have a look. The last thing we want to do is be cutting into our 45 degree. Looks pretty good there. So now we're going to do the same on the other head. Start with our 45, just to see where we're going. It's looking pretty good. Just one more to clean it up a little wider. There we go. Now you can see the shiny ring starting to form around it in there. Take our outside cut. And just to solve our own curiosity, what I like to do is put a little bluing in there on the seat. A little smear of that around in the seating area. Oh, and we'll do this one. Now we're going to do the same with the exhaust port, and we've had to readjust our large cutters down to fit into the exhaust port without cutting the material out. So we're going to start with a little 45 just to have a look. So we're getting a nice ring around it. I know it's hard to see and you probably won't be able to distinguish what's what exactly until I put some bluing in there, and then you can see where the cut is happening. But right now I'm just going to take some off where I can look at it and see it. Be careful with the 60 in this because of the angle I see in there. The small one in. There, that's cleaned it up. That's cleaned it up. All right, let's leave that one. I'm gonna put a little bluing on it. Let it dry up a little bit. Just a little bit more. It's off to one side a little tiny bit, and we're trying to bring it over this way a little. So you can only do that by going a little bit deeper. Every time you take a guide in and out, you can't be assured that it's going to go right back in the exact same spot. You're starting to see the shiny part all around in there. Now we've got the 45 and the 31, a nice shiny spot all the way around. A little tiny cut with the 60 to see where we're at, because I know it's off to one side a little bit, tiny bit. So we certainly don't want to just crank it in there. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we'll put a little bit of blue on. Probably don't have to do this. I've done enough of them. But it does tell you if you're high or low somewhere. You know, if you're only one side of it hitting, not all the way around. The bluing will point that out and show you that you're not all the way around on it. Where it's hard to see just looking at the shiny areas. All right, let's try the other one first. It should be drier. We'll do this one a little bit different, and maybe it'll help you to see a little bit. Just take a light cut off the 60 in the bottom. And I know it's very hard to see, but the 60 has taken a cut down on the bottom. Now we haven't cut the 45 or the 31 yet. So I'm going to cut the 31 on the outside. Once it's nice and smooth, it should leave us with our 45, of which now you can see the 45 ring around in there. It's blue. We haven't cut it out. But the top two and the bottom are done. So we'll take a shot with our 45. We know we're cutting all the way around with the 31. You can see that we're shiny all the way down through now. The blue that's way down in the bottom or around the outsides doesn't matter, but our seat looks really smooth because it's cut on 3 angles. So that should be good now. And now you can see that our our 3-angle valve job. Looks very nice in there. You can see how smooth it is in there. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So I'm pleased with that. And we've got nice seats on those. Now we got to go along and lap our valves in. I have to wait for 2 exhaust valves to come because I haven't got them here to lap them in, and I have to hone out a little bit of the valve guide for the other ones. Just need to get more clearance for those. We can try lapping our intakes in and get that done so that's finished. I can see the mark in the center of the valve is what I'm looking for. And I can see it there very lightly. There. That's looking better. Spray a little brake clean. Do I have some there? Yes, I do. Now it makes it a little easier to see. If you could make it out, there's a gray ring right in the center that's just slightly up from this edge and down from that edge. It's basically in the center of the valve. And that's what we're looking for. That's where we want our valve seating there. And it just looks wonderful there. We should have a nice seat in our head. And yes, I got a nice seat around there. Again, it's hard to see. It's this one we're looking at. But you can look in there and there's a gray satin seat in there. It's satin where the other stuff is sort of shiny. And that shows us that's where our valve is hitting. It looks good there. It looks very, very, very nice. Very nice. And we've got a nice satin seat all the way around that one. So I just gotta wait for my 2 exhaust valves to come, and then we can do those. Tedious sort of work, but makes a difference when it's running. It's well worth the effort. A lot of guys don't lap them anymore. They just fire them in there and away they go. And I guess they'd work, but I can't help myself. I got to do it this way, and then I got it in my brain when it goes in the bike. I know, yeah, I did that. I checked those seats. I made sure they were concentric, and I know it's done. Okay, we'll get back to you when we're on to something else.